Welcome to the Mad About Wayne podcast from the Wayne County Historical Society in Wayne County, Georgia. We hope this time together is informative, educational, and maybe even a little entertaining. Mad About Wayne is brought to you by ProSonics Audio Engineering. Now, let's get into today's Mad About Wayne podcast.
All right, welcome to the second edition of Mad About Wayne, our local history podcast that the Wayne County Historical Society has put together to continue on past our America 250 celebration. I'm Janet Royal with the Wayne County Historical Society, and with me is Eric Swilley, and Eric is a Confederate reenactor. And he attends many reenactments, yes, and was with us when we did December at Doctortown, which was living history and not necessarily reenactment. And by phone, we have Harry Bennet, who is also a very keen student of Civil War history and what went on at the site of Doctortown in December 1864.
Yes, ma'am. I am here.
We're so glad to have you both with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Doctortown, as Harry and Eric both know, Doctortown was a significant site on the Omaha River from the beginnings of the colony of Georgia and in the Native American history. It was the second highest bluff that Chief Ellick, who was a Muskogee Creek chief, was out down around the Sanseville-Williamsburg area. And when the Treaty of Coleraine was signed in 1795, and then the Treaty of Fort Wilkinson in 1803, that meant that Chief Ellick's little band of Indians had to vacate that area and had to move upriver. They moved upriver to the next highest bluff, which was Doctortown, which retains its original Indian name. Doctor was Chief Ellick was the word. Ellick is the word for doctor in the Muskogee language, and it still retains its name. Doctortown has 300 plus years of human inhabitants at that site. Harry, you want to add anything to that little thing about Doctortown?
Well, the site of Doctortown, it is on that high bluff down there. There's some beautiful big old trees down there. It's a beautiful site, and it's easily accessed by a road that you can drive up to. There's also a historical marker down there that's been stolen several times, and the last time it was stolen, Stan Warnick and I went down there, and we put that marker back up down there. Fortunately for us, it has not been stolen since it was stolen the last time. Actually, the marker that's down there now is actually the marker that belongs to be out on the highway. If you read that marker, it's got some language on it that sounds a little funny for the site that it's at. And if you read it, you'll know what I'm saying. But if you get a chance, go down there to that site. It's open to the public. The public can get into it. It's easily accessible, and you can go down there and you can read the marker. You can drive over to the site where the battle actually was held. Just don't get on the railroad. Whatever you do,
do not get on the railroad. That's a fact.
Yeah, for trust.
That's sacred. We don't want anybody on that railroad. But that is a beautiful site over there. We like to keep it clean. If you go over there, make sure if you drop paper or something, pick it up, take it back out with you. But go down there and check the site out. It's easily accessible, and we'll talk more about that site when we start talking about the battle, because there's some things you're going to want to look for that are still there from when they had the battle.
Well, the significant thing there that led up to the battle was the Indians were removed. And excuse my use of the word Indian. I don't mean to be politically incorrect, but that's just how we talked through all the years. The Native American or the first people, whatever you want to call them, they moved upriver. In 1803 was the Treaty of Fort Wilkinson, which actually created Wayne County. But they gave away more land than there was in the land lottery that year, so they pulled it back in and reissued it. So the county counts December 7th, 1805 as their creation date. So we are first we were one of the first counties, or one of the early counties, but we got started with an error, and we had to pull back in and come back out. But the Altamaha River was key to the development of this part of the state and key to the development of what became Wayne County, because it was the interstate highway system of its day. The Native Americans used it for transportation and for trade. And then when the white man came, they did the same thing. And the site that Harry's referring to, where the actual battle took place, was where the community of Doctortown grew up. And so you can tell that the sawmill was there. The sawmill was there in the 1850s and 1860s. And then coming into the 20th century, 1924 is when the McCann Lumber Company came here. So the sawmill site was important. And when the county was created in 1805 and they looked at what the land was like, Henry W. Grady said it wasn't good for anything but cows and pine trees, and that was pretty good. Cows have served us well, and the pine tree has served us better. And so the sawmill was always there, and that was a great site for it. In 1857, the Atlantic and Gulf Railroad came through, and they built the first trestle at Doctortown. The Atlantic and Gulf did, and it was a wood structure. And so the structure that you see now, that was a 1903 construction. But I would said before, that's a hats off to the engineers and the workers of the mid-1850s, late 1850s, that they could construct a wood bridge over the Altamaha River. Altamaha was supposed to be a Creek word. There's a little controversy about its origin. What does it really mean? And it's supposed to be the way to Tama, which was a significant Indian village where the Oconee and Okmulgee came together to form the Altamaha. And so that's all tied into our Native American history. The Indians were removed in the 1840s. They were gone by 1850. The Native Americans of our area did not go on the Trail of Tears. They went down into the Fargo area and down to the with the Seminoles and fought in the Seminole Wars with General Jackson. So there was always a human presence in our history at the site that's Doctortown. I consider it the most important site in Wayne County, with Williamsburg, Sansevilla being the second most important. So, and that's where the land of Mary Musgrave. So
you might also be interested in knowing that I have found out that site right there was where the Chinese made their camp when they were building that bridge down.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't know that.
I didn't know who the workers were that built that. So that's it's very strategic location. It was a part of.
I found some artifacts down with my metal detector.
Oh, don't tell anybody that.
Well, you know, the state has got some crazy laws.
Yes, they do.
Us metal detector people really bad, and we're really upset about them. You know, if you see it, you can't pick it up in Georgia anymore.
Well, that's that's federally protected Native American property, but
yes,
you got to know what to do and what not to do.
Absolutely.
So, having said that, anyway, you derailed my train of thought, which is a real thing with the railroad here. So we're ready to talk about the battle, and you want to do your lead in to what came before?
Yes, I would love to this time. I think there's a proper place for it. In December of that year, there was a lot going on before the battle that had a lot to do with that battle, and it affected the battle a tremendous amount of time. When the battle was getting ready to happen, it was one of the coldest winters on record. And that made a lot of difference in the way the battle was fought and how it happened. Also, the river was in one of the biggest flood stages that it had been in years and years and years. And that also made a big difference in the way the battle was fought. Because with the flood stage the way it was, the waters of the Altamaha had come up out of the banks, and the water was on both sides of the embankments where they led up to the trestle there. And the Yankees, when they were coming down the river, couldn't just go out into the woods and bivouac. They actually had to bivouac on the railroad itself down there, which really made it very difficult for them to fight the battle the way they fought. We almost had to fight it on our terms. But it was a very difficult winter. It was very cold. The water in the Altamaha was very high. It was in a big bad flood stage, and that had a lot to do with how we fought the battle. In the winter, God was on our side, to say the least. Also, the preparations that was going on, we knew that battle was going to happen, and everybody in Doctortown took all the furniture they had in their houses and everything that they could spare. They took it down to the railroad tracks and built a big wooden berm right there at the railroad crossing, so they have something to stand behind to shoot to fight the Yankees. And I mean, they sacrificed their furniture, their wagons, a plow, anything that they could get to build this huge berm down there to be able to stand behind to shoot. They also got shovels and hoes, anything they could dig with. And if you go down there now, Janet, you're very familiar with that site down there. Some of the trenches are still down there that they dug as a place to get into to fight from. They even dug some fallback positions back there where they could go into in case they lost the forward position. They'd have a fallback position to go to. The people of Doctortown and of Wayne County were prepared to fight to the last man, woman, and child because they knew if those Yankees got across that river, everything that they ever lived for, worked for, and loved for would be gone forever. They were making their last stand. Everything they cherished was there. And they knew that if they didn't fight for what they had, they would lose everything they had. They had everything to lose, and they were going to fight to the very end to make sure they didn't lose it. And that was the preparations they were making for. They were making preparations to live or die. And they were not going to give up their way of life. And that's what they was doing all the preparations. And we've got to remember, the conditions were terrible down there. And one of the things that they did, too, once the battle area did start, the little boys would sneak across that railroad track at night and carve up some of them guys that were sleeping on that railroad track. And it got them all scared, and they were really, really afraid of fighting over there because of the way we did. A lot of guerrilla warfare went on. Some of the first traces of guerrilla warfare in modern warfare happened at Doctortown.
In December of 1864, that might not be a bulldog point of pride, but it's a.
Well, Harry, have you heard any rumors of Yankees being actually buried on the Long County side?
I have heard rumors, but I have not been able to find them. I've actually gone over there and looked. I haven't found it.
No, I've heard several rumors about it, and then we done some building over around Jones Creek in Long County, and was told by the family that we were building for that Sherman's troops actually camped on their property and burnt their split rail fence and burnt some other stuff down while they were there. So I don't know this for a fact, but this was told to me by the family members that lived on the property.
Well, it stands to reason that there would be. With the guerrilla warfare going on.
Of the river, they burnt some homes. Matter of fact, they even burned a church somewhere over there. I'm trying to remember where it was at. But there was a church somewhere, not the Jones Creek area, but somewhere back over around going toward, what's the name of that place? Anyway, they burned the church over there somewhere.
Well, what do you know about the cannon that is in Waycross?
That cannon in Waycross came from Doctortown.
That's what
when they finally did come across the river. And when the war was over and everything, we had 2 cannons over there. One of those cannons was mounted on a flat car.
Yes, sir.
On a train there. And when the Yankees would come in to fight, they rolled that flat car out down the railroad track and blast away at the Yankees with everything they could put down the barrel of that cannon. And when the war was over, the Yankees came in there and they had 2 cannons. And one was mounted somewhere else down there. Do you know anything about where that other one was mounted?
No, I've just always heard that. I've always heard that there was one still in the water, and that Waycross had one.
It's not in the water. Story for another time. It's not in the water.
Well,
anyway,
I know people have been down there when it's a low river and tried to see where it would be, but I don't know. Do you know any of the names of combatants? That I know that dreaded Judson Kilpatrick. I've always heard about Judson Kilpatrick on the Yankee side or the Union side.
Was the guy who was in command of the Confederate forces down there. Let me finish the story about the cannon stuff.
Okay.
The Yankees fight those cannons and throw them off the sides of the railroad track there, and they sit there for years. And the yard master of them, Waycross, didn't have a wife, but he had a sister who was really wanting to be hoop-de-doop in the social circles over there. So she had her brother to come over and pick one of those cannons up with a crane, and he took it to Waycross over there, and it used to be mounted on a little mount down there by that overpass in a little park they had over there. For years it was there, and then they moved it where it's at right now in that little Confederate clock over there in Waycross. But that's our cannon.
Well, I've heard
we can get it back.
I've also heard rumors that that Waycross or some of the people of Waycross are fighting to get rid of it and the monument. And I'd certainly love to see it come to Wayne County.
I know a guy that's got a truck that'll be glad to go over and
I'd certainly love to see it would come to Wayne County.
We might have to investigate that.
Like I said, it might be something worth looking into because I'd love to see it come to Wayne County. They want the monument and the cannon gone, and the cannon belongs over here anyway, as far as I'm concerned. And it'd be nice to have the monument over here. I don't know exactly where we could put it. Maybe out there around Doctortown somewhere. Maybe over on JC close to it. I don't know, but that'd be it. I mean, getting it over here first, and then we'll worry about where to put it.
They want that cannon gone.
We'll have
a guy will have that thing gone before you can book it.
Yeah, I know several people that would.
We know several that would go over there anyway.
Yeah.
But let's go. Is it time for a break? Let's take a break and hear from our sponsor of our podcast, ProSonics.
The Mad About Wayne podcast from the Wayne County Historical Society in Wayne County, Georgia, is brought to you by ProSonics Audio Engineering. From radio and podcast production to the recovery, restoration, and enhancement of tape recordings, video soundtracks, and phone recordings, to providing live sound services for corporate events, festivals, and houses of worship. ProSonics Audio Engineering is your go-to for all things audio. For more information, call or text 912-297-9911 or email prosonics@icloud.com. ProSonics, the science of sound.
Okay, we're coming back from our break now. We want to give a shout out to Butch Hubbard, WIFO-FM, for the use of his station here. That's where we're doing our recording so that we have great sound. And we sound professional with our work with ProSonics. And so we're going to continue our conversation with Eric Swilley and Harry Bennet. Both of them are Confederate reenactors and been doing that for a long time, as I recall.
25 years now.
25 years. What else do you want to share with us about the battle, Harry?
Well, I hadn't really got into the battle that much yet. I was just giving y'all the wound up to the battle. But
well, you've done the prologue.
Talk about the battle a little bit. Or you want me to keep on going?
Well, you're doing it. If I feel like interjecting, I'll throw my 2 cents worth in there. But you're doing fine here. You're doing fine.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I really appreciate the opportunity that we have had to go down there and do the reenactment. And we used to do it the second Saturday in December, wasn't it, Janet?
It was around the 18th. Yes, it was living history.
Yes, sir. And I've done a few down there myself. Actually, we moved it to January because the reenactment schedule in December was so hectic because we have several right here at the 1st of December that have been around for years. So I moved it to our living history to January for that, because we have Fort McAllister is right here. The Battle at Fort McAllister is right here in December, as well as Hoffwell Plantation.
Which all are tied into Sherman's March to the Sea.
And Hoffwell Plantation is, as a matter of fact, it's coming up. It's a living history, and it's really nice. They do the night fire.
Hoffwell or Hopewell?
Hoffwell Broadfield.
Okay.
Hoffwell Broadfield. It's really nice. It's really nice. It's they do night fire with the cannons, and we do an infantry demonstration. So it's pretty nice.
One of my favorite things that we did when we were doing December at Doctortown, and Harry was a part of this, and Eric may have been, I don't remember, but that was when we did the wedding.
Yes.
We did a wedding down there, and we do a funeral.
Done a funeral, yes.
We did a funeral, and I remember that Harry was the acting person over the funeral.
And the funeral.
And he said, and he lived right over there, and everybody in the crowd turned and looked to see where Harry was pointing. And I always thought that was interesting.
Yep, that was really interesting. When we were doing the funeral, we were supposedly burying a young lad that got shot behind that barricade over there. And I said, and as we're here, the lady this young man's with, she fell right over yonder. And everybody looked right over.
Yeah, it's kind of something. The other thing that's kind of interesting, Harry, is we were a friend of mine, Tommy, and I went down there one day. We were in uniform. We were doing another event. We were still in uniform, and we just rode down there just for the heck of it. And we were standing there in uniform with our muskets in our hands when an Amtrak come by. And it slowed down as it was coming by, and I can just imagine what those people thought when they looked out the window and saw two Confederate soldiers standing there with muskets in hand. That was pretty fascinating.
I would think that would be a wonderful thing to see.
Well, I hadn't been down there, in quite a while, but I plan to. I'm going to be coming to Jessup one day next week, and I plan to go down there and just stop and do some reflection. That's a good place to reflect and
yes, sir.
Think,
well, it's one
big old tree.
One thing, Harry, now that does trouble me is it's not as easily accessible as it used to be. You have to go now and call a guard from Rayonier to come around there and open the gate, from what I understand, and then you are escorted in and you're escorted back out. You're not allowed to. You can't just go in there no more. They've got the gate locked, and you have to call the number on the gate and have somebody come unlock the gate. It's not as easily accessible as it used to be, which troubles me. But it's, at the same time, that's probably what's kept the monument from being stolen again. So it has its good sides, but it's not as easily accessible. You can't just go down there anymore.
Not without some effort, and we need to work on that. We've talked about that kick that idea around for a while. We need to continue to do that because it is such a significant historical site.
Yes, there's so many people right here in Wayne County that have no idea anything about it, and I've learned a lot about it just since I got into reenactment and hung out with Harry a lot, and I've learned so much about it myself. And then there's so many people right here in Wayne County that know nothing about it. That's one of the two places that Sherman was turned. I can't remember the other place for the life of me. Harry, throw it in there.
One other place that he got turned.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember for nothing.
Somewhere near Lookout Mountain or somewhere like that.
Yeah, but two places Sherman was defeated and turned, and that's very significant. Very significant to me, and hardly anybody around here know anything about it.
And
well,
and that's true of all of our history, and it's particularly true of the Altamaha River because of the significance of that river in the development of not only us and our area, but the whole state. It opened the central part of the state up to the coast. And
most people don't even realize, how important and how much or how significant railroads have meant to Wayne County.
Yes.
We wouldn't have a Wayne County if it wasn't for railroads.
And we had, with them building the bridge out of wood and it being station number 6, station number 5. I can't remember what state. They were station number 5, Doctortown was. Jessup was 6 and Scriven was 7. So while we're right here on this part and we're talking a little bit about access to the site, why don't you two talk about what you do as reenactors and what a typical day or weekend might entail for you doing living history?
Well, I myself am very adamant about my camp. When I set up camp, I like for you to be able to feel like you step back in time when you step into my camp. Anything that's not period is called a Farby. And I don't want nobody sitting in my camp with a McDonald's cup in their hand. You know what I mean? If you're going to hang out with me in camp, even if you're a civilian, get you a copper cup. I mean, I'm very adamant about my camp. I want you to feel like you step back in time. We cheat, of course. We have coolers with our food in it, stuff like that. But that all stays hidden. We cook over the open fire. People come up and ask us, do y'all sleep in those tents? I mean, yes, we do. It's camping out. You know what I mean? It's some people do it a little rougher than others. Just done an event where we do what they call campaign, where we bivouac and we actually sleep on the ground. We went out. It's the Battle of Sandersville, and it's where one of the cities that Sherman didn't burn. He actually liked it, but we bivouac out of town and we come in on the same road that he marched in on, and we battle the Yankees all the way into town, and then when we get to town.
Where do you get your Yankees from? We have people who are Yankees.
Yeah. There's actually a group in Florida that are full-time Yankees.
How about
we occasionally, as reenactors, I have a blue coat. I don't like to tell too many people about that, but we occasionally have to put on a blue coat because you can't have a battle if you've got 600 Confederates and 100 Yankees. You can't have a very good battle. So they'll come around sometimes and ask some of us to galvanize. When I first got into it, I would not. I refused to. I wouldn't. But in the big picture, it's still keeping the history going. And usually, if I have to put on the blue coat, I die pretty quick. I don't last very long. I go out on the battlefield, and about the first volley, I'm dead.
You take one for the team.
Yeah, or I'll go through 2 or 3 volleys, and I'll set it up with my file partner to shoot me in the back while I'm running away.
Oh,
so I'm either going to be a dead Yankee or a chicken Yankee, one or two. But it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. The people you meet in the reenactment family are just that, family. I mean, there's people that I know we may not see but 5 times a year, but they're like brothers and sisters to me. And it's a family-oriented thing, too. A lot of people have their whole families there with them. They have their kids dressed out, and it's a blast. I was hooked the first event I went to.
What's that wagon called that travels that you can... It's not called cutlery, is it? No, that's what you eat with. That's a fork and a spoon. Some kind of a supply wagon. I saw one time. I know that's the reason that, it's part of the reason that we do Doctortown. When we were able to do Doctortown at the site, we called it a living history encampment because we didn't have unions. Cutlery.
Sutleries, yeah.
Sutlery. Okay. Yeah. I wasn't too. I was only one consonant off.
Right. You have the sutlers that come to a lot of events. They sell all the wares that we use and stuff. And they don't travel in wagons anymore. You know what I mean? But that's what you're referring to. Yeah.
I remember I saw one time. What about you, Harry? What about your reenactment history?
Well, I enjoy it. I usually play the part of a chaplain. And, if you're going to have a battle, you're going to have a lot of people needing a lot of prayer.
Yes.
And I played part of the chaplain. Before I leave the house, I put on my coat, and, they were pretty plain. Their uniform was. The only thing they had on it was a cross, and they had the cross on the hat. And I put my Confederate uniform on, and it's a plain Jane uniform. And I make sure that it's, pretty correct the way it should be to go into the field, because those guys are pretty serious about their uniforms, and I want to be as serious about mine as they are about theirs. And I want it to be, correct. And when we go out into the field, like you said, we rough it up. And I enjoy that part of it. And we actually, I take my horse sometimes, or my mule, out with me when I go. And the whole horse or mule adds a lot to it, sitting there by the building looking at everybody in.
Yes, sir. We have a chaplain now that's part of the Georgia Volunteer Battalion. That's the group that I'm with. We Georgia Volunteer Battalion. There's a chaplain. He is at every event. He's probably one this weekend. I mean, he is at every event. Yeah. I mean, everywhere you go, he's always there. Brother Joy Young.
I know him. Yeah.
Joy Young, real fantastic guy, and he's like I said, he's probably at an event this weekend. I know everyone I go to, he's usually there, and I usually try to camp pretty close to him because he's always got a big pot of coffee in the morning. If you ain't got no coffee,
right.
all you gotta do is find Brother Joy, and you got all the coffee you want.
Has he got a percolator?
Yeah, he's usually got three big pots on there, and if you go by there on Sunday, he'll tell you, okay, you can have 24-hour coffee, you can have 12-hour coffee, you can have fresh coffee. Which one you want? It depends on how strong you want it.
I think that old dirty sock coffee.
Yes, sir. Yes, I've done that myself, Mr. Harry. I've done that myself, yeah.
That does not sound too encouraging.
Well, the first time I seen it done, it was, I don't think it was actually a dirty sock, but the guy pulled his sock, acted like he pulled it off his foot, and he poured some coffee in it and threw it in the pot with water and put it on the fire. And I drank it.
I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to drink any reenactment coffee.
Oh, no, it's good stuff.
Nah,
good stuff.
I don't trust you people with your socks. So
it'll make you grow hair on your chin.
You got to be real careful with those metal cups too, because you don't ever fill your cup all the way to the top. You fill it about halfway because those metal cups get hot, especially copper. Yeah, they get hot.
Something else. Well,
I did get around. I go to all the camps and all the sites, and you keep pretty busy. You always got somebody that needs a prayer, always needs something. And I do perform weddings and, all kinds of stuff at the battle site, make-believe weddings and stuff. And it gets real interesting. People really like to see it. And I usually perform the rope ceremonies because back in the day they didn't have a lot of gold rings, and so we do the tie the knot ceremony. That was something that came out of the Civil War. People didn't have any gold rings, so we do a tie the knot ceremony.
That's crazy because that's where tying the knot came from, and it's just like as far as the muskets go, they say somebody went off half cocked. Well, that means that's the only safety that a musket has is when it's at half cocked. That's the only safety it has. A half cock means
I didn't know that.
Just that almost ready to fire. All you got to do is pull it back one more click, and it's ready to fire. And that's where they're saying, he went off half cocked. That's where a lot of that comes from.
And tying the knot. How about that? I've been educated today. How about that?
Hey. Yeah,
I enjoyed it. And, when we're doing the living history like that, it adds to it. You tell, people will come out just for that. We found that out. And when we were doing our thing, and with the trestle, have either of you ever jumped off that trestle?
I have.
What was the river level?
It was probably about 7 foot.
Oh, that's all right.
At Doctortown. It wasn't too bad.
How old were you?
17, 18.
That's what I was.
We used to, like I said, there's.
I never jumped off of it.
We used to actually climb up and set up on top of it when we were growing up. We'd go out there and you could climb up the ladder and get up there on the little thing up top. We'd sit up there for hours.
Not me.
Pull a cooler up. Set up
the
routes.
Bible says, "Lo, I am with you always," and the next verse is, "Don't climb on the trestle."
Yeah, well,
I don't know that's in everybody's
I've been
version.
sitting up there with a train come over.
Oh my, you are brave. I'm like you though.
Well,
But whenever the trains come through, it really does add to the atmosphere because
there's
it's
a fine
flat
line
through.
between bravery and
And
stupidity.
at its heyday, there was about 3,500 people out there, and during World War II, when the men were gone to fight, we had an Italian prisoner of war camp behind where Wayne Line used to be, and behind the farmers market, and they would take the men from the Italian prisoner of war camp out to Doctortown to run the sawmill. And the people at the sawmill, if you wanted to be somebody in Jessup, you had to have a Wayne Street address or some kind of attachment to Wayne Street. So the McCanns would go to the sawmill, but they would go home to Cherry Street and that side street there. But the Gulf Mist, I know both of you have seen the Gulf Mist. And there's supposed to be a World War II, maybe some kind of something over there in the Bramble and the Reeds. Do you know anything about a second boat, Harry?
Yes, ma'am. They used to be one of them old LSTs over there. They used all logs and stuff years ago, and it got to where it was taking on water, and they couldn't save it, and it sunk right down there by the bridge.
What is an LST?
That's one of them things you see in the movies when they're running up on the beach and the door falls down and everybody runs up on the beach.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know all the D-Day movies are like that. Okay. But I knew that there was a yoke, a harness-looking thing that they used to pull the lumber up from the timber rafts that they pulled up to the sawmill. And we went down there probably 25 years ago. It's been a long time. We marked the site of the sawmill office and the post office.
I think somebody pulled it out. I think it's gone.
That harness thing?
Yeah, I think it is.
I haven't been. Sure. I'll have to look next time I go that way. I don't know what the river is.
I know Harry had mentioned that he had found some artifacts down there, and I know a guy that was that I'm not going to mention any names, but that found a cannonball.
Oh, we have the cannonball in the Heritage Center. The one that fell at Morgan Lake?
No.
This one that was fell at Morgan Lake.
Yeah.
And
that guy almost became the last casualty of the Civil War.
Right.
And they took it to the ordnance people over at Fort Stewart, and they said it was harmless.
And
but if he had been killed, he was turkey hunting, and if the ball had fallen on him and killed him, he would have been a Civil War casualty.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
his family
almost fell on him. It fell pretty close to him.
I bet that was a.
Well, it's like we were talking about the living history stuff. I thoroughly enjoy those because you actually have. I mean, I enjoy the battles. And the camps we have and talking to people when they come through our camps. So when you have a living history, you have more time to spend with the people, going through the uniforms.
The funerals and the weddings and stuff down there because we were able to get big crowds together and actually tell them a history lesson about the place down there.
Right, even the smaller things like rolling cartridges. I like to sit there and with the sticks and the papers and do it from scratch as far as rolling your own cartridges and stuff like that because in a lot of cases that's what they had to do. If they wanted bullets to shoot the next day, they had to sit down and roll their own.
That's right.
And
I did not know
just
that.
things like that.
I made an A in Civil War history. It makes you wonder how, doesn't it?
Well, I don't. And I wish I'd have gotten into it a lot sooner myself. Like I said, I've been doing it now 25 years. I started in 2000. But I wish I'd have gotten into it a lot sooner. I really do because I thoroughly enjoy it. And like I said, the family, the people they're like family to you. I mean, we may not see each other but 5-6 times a year, but there's a lot of them I could call right now. If I told them I needed them, they'd drop what they're doing and come. And I would do the same for them. So
I know that.
We are hoping that hopefully real soon we'll be able to go out there and actually do this again.
I would love to. I could given some time, I could probably put together something. I mean, you know what I mean? Given a little bit of time because there's not a lot that goes on. It'd be hard in December because, like I said, we have Hawthorne Plantation, which is December the 5th. And
who sponsors that one?
I guess the plantation does.
Okay. Well, it's a state park. It's a state historic site.
Yeah, it's a living
We can work
history.
on it.
It's but I would love to but the bad thing is it'd be hard to do it in December now because as far as the reenactment community goes, because you have already two right at the beginning of December, and the McAllisters are a pretty big event.
Yeah, and that always has been. We Harry and I have been talking about the dates because of Sergeant Wannock's book, and we have a copy of the book. I brought the booklet with me because I needed to look at something, but they were jockeying for position and getting ready, like Harry said, for several days, weeks before. They knew how important that supply line was to the Confederacy, and they had to disrupt it. And so they were out there December 13th through the 17th, Harry, and then the actual engagement started with the 18th.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that guy the mayor of Columbus, Georgia, was an old German. I can't remember his name. Do you remember Janet?
No, I didn't know that Columbus, Georgia had a German mayor at that time.
He had a mayor, and he was also the commander of the Home Guard. And he heard about this battle that was brewing at Doctortown, and he mounted up the Home Guard from Columbus, Georgia, and they forced march from Columbus, Georgia, all the way to Doctortown, walking. And the day they got to Doctortown, they had to fight.
Well, Henry McKay doesn't sound very German.
The day they got there, after walking all the way from Columbus, Georgia.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize about the soldiers. A lot of times they walked everywhere they went. If they may get lucky and catch a train every now and then, but most of the time they walked everywhere they went and would have to fight along the way. Small skirmishes on the way to a battle.
These guys wasn't even getting paid.
Yeah,
they did this out of love of country, out of love of the South, of love of what they thought was right. They did it because it was the right thing to do, or they thought it was the right thing to do, and they did it out of the love of their fellow man. That's the reason they were there, and they walked 220 miles.
How about Colonel von Zinken?
That's him.
I can read well. I found it in the booklet.
Yeah.
And he went back to Columbus after that. But, they had everything to lose. So they were out there they were, for love of country or love of keeping your house intact and not losing everything that you had. So the Wayne, I think 4th Georgia Cavalry, what was left of them, were out there that didn't have their horses anymore. And the Wayne Home Guard. Oh, no, we're not going to talk about that. No.
It's highly probable.
Let's don't go there. Don't go there. Well, I think that we've covered it well. And I hope that people will listen to Eric's information. If they're interested, they can go to Hoffel Broadfield, which is on 17 North, almost at the river in Glenn County. And then Fort McAllister is on also 17, almost in Richmond Hill.
Well, Hoffel, as a matter of fact, if you go to Sterling and take a left on 99, when 99 runs into 17, it's right there.
And they got a roundabout there now.
Yes, they do. Yeah,
roundabout.
Yeah. But I'll throw in a plug for it. It's a very interesting event. Like I said, they fire the cannons at night, and you get to see how far the fire shoots out of the cannons. And like I said, we do a demonstration as far as the infantry goes, and it's very interesting. You get to tour the house, and walk through the house. You can walk through our camps, and it's interesting and very educational.
Okay,
Janet, can I put in a plug for something else that's going to happen soon?
Sure.
The 22nd, we're going to be having the open house over in the Okefenokee Swamp. And that's a nice thing for people to be going to over there at the house over there in the Okefenokee Swamp. It's a nice day. They have a lot of demonstrations. There'll be a sugarcane grinding, all types of demonstrators in there demonstrating stuff like saddlery, and they'll have people in there doing all kinds of candle making and stuff like that. You get to tour the house over there. There'll be people getting a rides and a horse and wagon through the woods.
The Waycross entrance?
Nice day in Kentucky Swamp.
Which entrance, Harry? The Waycross entrance or the Folkestone?
Folkestone entrance.
Okay. All righty. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up for another fine episode of Mad About Wayne.
Well,
I appreciate Eric.
I really appreciate y'all having me. I really do. I enjoyed it, and anytime we get a chance to talk about Doctortown or reenacting, I'm here.
Thank you, Harry. Come see us soon.
I'll be down soon.
Y'all come see us
Thank
too.
you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Thank you for doing it.
Good to hear from you, Harry.
Good to hear from you. Hope to see you soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We hope you enjoyed today's Mad About Wayne podcast. For more information on the Wayne County, Georgia Historical Society, please visit our Facebook page. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you receive notifications when a new episode is released. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you again soon. Remember, we're mad about Wayne.